Welcome, sweets. Welcome to the ES&T cake tutorial for a number one cupcake cake. All right, loves. I have already baked all my cupcakes. Y'all can see they're done. They're actually cooled. So let's jump into this tutorial. I've already listed everything that you need. If I do remember, I will drop it down in the comments. I thank you all for being here. All right, loves. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. Let me know. Are you guys really into these cupcake cakes? Because there's a lot of people opting out for this opposed to a regular cake when we're coming down to some of the younger kids. And I think it is an awesome idea because you still get a beautiful look and you don't have as much waste. A lot of people don't know how to cut cake. So if you're just reaching and handing someone a cupcake, it works out a lot better. So what we want to do here is set up our cupcakes. I have my tools available. There will be a little bit of fondant work, not a lot. Now, I'll be honest with y'all, this is my first time ever doing Sesame Street. So a lot of times I get people and they say Sesame Street, but then they change their mind. So bear with me. Um, Mentally, I'm trying to figure out what colors I want to put where because to me, presentation is everything. I'm also checking the bottom of the cupcakes. I do use rice to help elevate my cupcakes and absorb. So if you guys have not seen me use the rice, just check out another cupcake tutorial. There are multiples up on this channel, loves. Okay, so here we go. Y'all see me like switching them out. I'm figuring it out. Now, I forgot to list this 13 by 19 board. This is a half sheet cake board. Um, I purchased this on Amazon. It's just a regular half sheet cake, love. Sometimes the sizes are hard to figure out, but I typically stick with this because for me, it works for anything, any large orders. Um, I don't know, like maybe you want to make some for your family and you want to use extra cupcakes. I feel like it will work on this board. So I'm slowing down because I'm trying to form my number one. And again, like I said, I want to put certain colors in certain places, but we're also looking at how the cupcakes baked up. I am one of those people that deliberately overfill my 2/3 cupcakes just a little bit because there's going to be certain cupcakes that are going to have characters on them. Now, if this wasn't a character cupcake, what I would be overfilling for my embellishments. So, like the cupcake or two that I'm going to put the name on or the happy birthday sign. Those things are the reason I want them to pop, really pop. So I overfill them so it stands out so that, you get the wow factor. I've been doing this for a while, and sometimes when I look at cupcakes that all look flush, it kind of just looks so basic, and I'm anything but a basic person, love. Y'all been with Miss T for a while, you would know that. And if you're new, you'll figure it out because I definitely I feel like the wow factor elevates the birthdays. Birthdays have always been important to me, so I really put my all into this. And you guys can see it's a lot of shuffling. If you guys want to skip through this part, totally understandable. I mean, it takes nothing to figure out how to make a number one. It is one of the easiest numbers. Um, what I'm doing here is making sure my cupcakes are going to line up because I am the type of person when I color in real life, and I do as a big adult at this big age, I do still color with my loves. I outline. So with my cupcakes, I feel like the outline again stands the icing up, creates definition. So when we're creating definition to make our cupcake one look like a one and not just a bunch of cupcakes thrown together, we are mindful from the beginning of what we would like to create. And you guys can see me kind of taking my time and going through and filling this in. Now, sometimes I do 2 rows of cupcakes at the bottom for this cupcake cake. I don't think I did because there wasn't a need. I did bake 24 cupcakes just in case. But when I use two, sometime I do have to bake 30 cupcakes. So be mindful. these cupcake liners came off of Amazon as well, and they are the gold foil liners. So you only need one per cupcake. And you guys see, I have a couple extra cupcakes. I'm not sure if I'm going to use them. I'm just moving them to the side. I've already put my American buttercream into my piping bag. And y'all, I always forget to list the tip, but it's just an open tip. It's just a round open tip. I'll drop it down in the comments if I remember, or I'll try to get back to this video along with the other videos and drop the Wilton's tips. So a lot of products I use are by Wilton's because for the longest that's what I used when I was starting out. I am self-taught, so it just was easier for me because you could find those products everywhere. So if you're working on a budget, I'll say this. You don't have to buy every tip, and I wish I had have known that because I still have tips that I barely use. Um, 9 years later, 11 take away. Yeah, 10 years, 9 years later, there's tips that I've barely used. So I gotta say, if you're elevating your business and you're starting to move toward cupcake cakes and things like that, you don't have to use every tip. You don't have to buy every tip, but some of these tips come in different sizes. So that's what I did not realize when I was doing this. You guys see me starting my outline, and when you're first starting out, we see a lot of people doing a lot of products and endorsing a lot of products. Y'all, I appreciate y'all being here. I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't endorse anything that I don't use. And if I don't use it a lot, I try to tell y'all I don't even use it a lot. So what does that mean? More revenue for your business, right? I was blessed to have a lot of help when I started, and going to work out better for you, especially because most businesses do fail in the first 5 years. I want to make sure that we can be as successful as possible. Support the business. I was really blessed to have a lot. This is something that I would when I started. There's just a lot of things that I wish I had known or I heard other bakers say, especially self-taught bakers. So I am going back and adding a second line to solidify my outline. And you guys can see the bottom of my number one finally coming together. So I really want to make sure things are working out for me. This second line solidifies the number one. So when you go back and you put your rosettes or whatever you choose to use, it will keep the shape. I think it just makes everything look a lot more defined, and that's what I'm looking for. And if you have excess icing on a tip, I suggest wipe it on a cupcake. There's no need to wipe it on a paper towel or anything like that because it's just a waste. As much as we are paying for butter and sugar and things, no thank you. All right, you guys, I did the dumbest shit ever. I really did. I really did pick it up, and the cupcakes were not held in place. And I'm so grateful that they all didn't slide off. But what I typically do is put Wilton's glue at the bottom. But these are young kids, so I did not. What I am going to do this time, I'm not even going to um, like I'm trying to push them back together, but I'm not going to do a lot of icing around the cupcakes. Sometime I'll dot in between cupcakes, dab of icing for like 5 year olds, 6 year olds. So somebody knows that it's there and it holds them in place. But I don't think I really want to do that because these are 1 year olds, 2 year olds, 3 year olds. So I am squeezing my unused American buttercream into a bowl because I'm going to begin to make color. And we're not wasteful over here. We're definitely going to continue to use what we already have. I will reuse this bag for two reasons. I'm almost out of piping bags. Number two, I want to stay in this space and do this tutorial for you all. Okay, so you guys can see I had already started my Elmo color, which is Red Red by Wilton's. Now, the thing about red, you have to be real careful with this because red is one of the nastiest colors. It's like, no, it is, it really is. But the dyes in these colors, when you want a really bright look, you're adding more dye. And again, this is for children. This is Super Red by Chef Mate. I'm going to add to get this deeper red look and get it closer to the Elmo color, because if you guys could see, it was more of a orangish red. Even though I was using red, it would have took too much for me to get it how I wanted it. So just for the sake of everyone involved, I just want to make sure that it's going to be pretty close. I mean, because icing color is a hard thing to do, especially if you're doing it the day of, as I was. I don't normally do my cakes the day before unless I'm like overbooked or something, especially if it's for something simple. I don't. This is a more complex order, so it does take more time, and I would have dyed my icing yesterday, like I did, but I didn't realize it didn't deepen. So a lot of days I dye a little bit, like 12 to 18 hours ahead of time, and it'll deepen, and you don't want it to be too deep or too dark, so I just stop, which I thought I was good, and I wasn't. So here I am fixing my color. You all may have had this happen to you. How did you fix it? Or did you fix it? Because I know there's been times where I just had to sacrifice and I wasn't able to fix it because there was a need to move forward. So reds, blues, blacks, I do try to do at least 12 hours before the cake or cupcakes are due. So the color stands up, if you guys understand what I'm saying. All right, I am still coloring, and I know I can't show you guys off camera, not off camera. I know you guys can't see from where I'm standing. I am putting about 1 to 2 drops in at a time. I'm showing you all. But they are a little bit thicker drops. So be mindful of how you're using red, because even the Chef Mate color can change on you. It'll go from a red to a burgundy real quick because it's a deep red, but it takes time to stand up. Now, I mixed the color and I'm ready to move on. Okay, loves, I'm thinking about what my next moves are. So I'm ready to start my second icing color. And this time I'm using yellow. This is lemon yellow, or which is Big Bird color. Um, This by Wilton's. I'm going to check the actual color, but I'm almost sure it's lemon yellow. Now, I'll tell you, please be careful of the different yellows because some of them create a very drastic look. Okay, so here we go. I decided to grab a toothpick and stick it in the cupcakes that I am going to use for my characters. That way I know not to put icing on them as I rosette. So I'm trying to think about my characters, where I want my placement to be, as well as make sure I get all the characters on here before I get started. Now, here I have a tip. It'll be down in the description box. But this is a big star. It's still an open star, but it's big. And I know you guys can't see it on here, but um, I'll drop it down in the comments. So come check the comments out. All right, we're just going to put the tip in there and cut our bag and get ready to go. Okay. So when you're measuring your tip, make sure you leave a little bit excess so you have room to push the tip in, but you don't want to cut it back so far that the tip falls out as you apply pressure. This was something I had to learn the hard way a lot when I first started doing cupcakes and cakes. So it's very disappointing to be in the middle of working and your tip falls out on you, and now you have to go get a new piping bag, clean the tip and everything. It slows you down. All right, so I am about to start. I'm trying to make sure that my number one is lined up. So once I start rosetting, because some of my rosettes will hang off to the next cupcake to create a seamless look. I just be second guessing myself a lot. So I'm just trying to make sure I have everything angled how I want to. And you can see me placing my American buttercream into my piping bag. That's all I'm doing. I didn't realize I was up out of the view of the camera, but yes. And the link for the American buttercream video will be down in the comments as well, loves. So the comments is a good place to check some things out. All right, we're ready to work our icing down and make sure it's piping appropriately. I always twist and make sure I have a firm grip on my bag. And I'm just going in a circle. I'm not necessarily doing a rosette because this is not a 1M, but I am doing a circle. And I'm sure I called it a rosette. It's not. It's just a circle, loves. And I love this tip for the number one cupcakes. It comes out really, really nice. It looks like a swirl. Um, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. But I'll put the tip down in the description box just for those of you that need to know so you can achieve this look. So you want to take your time when you get here and think about your placement of your characters and the colors, the contrast that you want to achieve. I mean, we see a lot of people rush through this, and you guys see how my cupcake icing came from the yellow cupcake to the red. This is how we create that seamless look. We kind of let it overlap is what I'm doing. So I'm putting white next to every cupcake where there will be a character, if you guys understand what I'm saying, to create the contrast of that particular cupcake. So next to Elmo, I want white to make the red stand out. Next to Big Bird, I want white to make the yellow stand out. In Cookie Monster, white. I think I ended up adding Oscar the Grouch. I'm not sure he was initially in the idea. I've never done any of these cupcakes, so it's about to be fun, y'all. It's about to be real fun. I am releasing all my icing from my tip back into my bowl. Again, we can take this icing and we can make whatever color we want. And I'm grabbing another baggie so that I'll be ready to um, pipe my characters. I was checking the bag because I bought these overseas online. Think I got them off of TikTok. I'm not sure. Baby, these bags have been crazy. And I think it was like 200 bags because I was like, "Ooh, well, I'll just get a large amount." I would never recommend that for anybody, especially if this is the 1M, okay, y'all? I would never recommend for someone to purchase a large quantity of something from a manufacturer that they've never worked with before. It was, I mean, of course I could still use the bags, but I gotta say about half of my bags, they were busting out the seam of the side, so I would be piping to cakes and things like that, and then all of a sudden the icing is hanging out or the whole bag just popped open. Even when I double bagged them, it it was like, okay, I'm running through extra bags, but if it's going to help me get through my orders, I'll do it. It was, I can't say a waste of money. It was a learning experience. That's what I'm trying to say. A learning experience. Okay. Y'all, this is my blue. This is royal blue. And y'all know who we about to make now. Cookie Monster. All right. Now for the eyes, I did purchase some eyes, but they didn't look good. So I did not use them. And I think, yeah, my children are the ones that did the eyes for these cupcakes. So they put some fondant together and they pieced it together in a way that would look like the characters off of Sesame Street. So if you guys don't have like the physical eyes that you can purchase by Wilton's, of course, feel free to take the back of a open tip and create a little um, or use it as a cookie cutter, or not a cookie cutter, use it as a fondant cutter Now I'm going to add this royal blue chef mate color because we do have Wilton's and I just don't want it to taste bad. And this is, again, it says royal blue, but it's more like a super blue. It's going to help it pop. And I did kind of use way more than I really wanted to, but Cookie Monster is one of those things that I feel like it's a fur. So I can get away with it because it's going to be one of the tips I use to do fur. So I'm just incorporating the blue icing, making sure everything is stirred in really, really good. And again, I typically make blue, red, black. The night before, I did not. Okay, so I'm seeing that it's taking some time. I'm almost close to the blue I want. I don't want the light royal blue. I kind of want the darker royal blue because we are using fondant eyes. And on Cookie Monster, the eyes are really, really white. And yes, I'm using white fondant, so I really kind of just want it to pop. All right, you guys see it's almost as blue as my bowl, so that's good for me. It's a good stopping point. And I'm looking at the happy birthday sign. A lot of times I will check my icing color against my fondant work. So I was making sure that they kind of coincided because they're going to be catty corner on this number one cake. Okay, so the icing in the bowl is a little bit darker than I want it to be. um, I kind of want them to coincide. So I have to leave. I added some more American buttercream, which I don't always use white, but the American buttercream is white by nature. It's not so yellow, and I'll be able to lighten this blue up a few shades, probably about 2 shades, which helps me because I want things to look balanced. You don't want a really dark character and then all the other characters are like light colored, if you understand what I'm saying. The cupcake liners are really, really bright, and I wasn't able to find blue in foil, so I didn't get that. So I'm really taking my time with trying to figure out this blue. Okay, so now I'm adding azul, which is the light blue. It's like almost sky blue. Well, yeah, it's sky blue. So we're going to balance out this Cookie Monster color where it won't be too dark, it won't be too light, and hopefully I'll have tints of this light blue in there. I think typically red is hard to make, but for some reason today my blue was giving me a lot of trouble. So here I am, I'm stirring in the white, and I added that little bit, it was a real little bit of sky blue, and we're going to again, incorporate. Please make sure that you're mixing your mixture all the way down and scraping the sides as you're doing this because there's nothing like getting ready to pipe and seeing white icing. It will break your heart, loves, or it breaks my heart. I don't know how you guys feel, but I really do enjoy doing this. This is something I love, so I always put my best foot forward regardless. You guys can see I'm not satisfied with this color. It's giving me the blues. But I want to just stay happy like Chucky is on my shirt. So I am going to add more buttercream. Yes, buttercream. But all in all, we're going to get the shade that I want because this has to happen. My favorite characters, one of my favorite characters is Cookie Monster and Oscar the Grouch. So you guys know I have to make sure that Cookie Monster is awesome and fun. So I'm putting my all into this, and I'm leaving again, y'all. I think I'm going to get more icing color. I don't know. A lot of times this just be back and forth, and I don't know. Like I don't know. Tell me how y'all feel. Do you have a favorite Sesame Street character, or did your child? Okay, I left to get my tip. Okay, so that is the tip that I will be using to create my fur. And it's so fun, y'all. I do like it. So when you're applying fur, it's based on the amount of pressure, right? And your buttercream. So I always recommend American buttercream because it's a sturdy buttercream. So I'm cutting my tip, and I am probably going to do blue first. I don't know. Sometimes I cut my tip down too far where I can't get the whole tip out and then I have to cut again. So that works better than overcutting and the tip falls out for me. All right. So yeah, I'm going to start with Cookie Monster first, and we're going to use this blue or these blues. Um, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pipe like a line. So when you think of Cookie Monster, he's not like very shapely. So I feel like this is a good character to start with so I can get my confidence up because I have not used a fur tip or a tip to make animal fur since my baby was turning 1. And I did him a lion guard cake, which turned out astounding, but I lost those videos. And those of you that have been subscribed for a while can see that I was missing in action. I do have other jobs, but look, y'all, it looks like fur. And you can go right above the cupcake and dollop. Is it called dollop? Dollop. You could dollop just a little bit, and you kind of just want to make sure that your icing is coming out how you want it. So I'm going around the cupcake, creating a border as usual, and then I'm going to go back and fill it in. My icing is coming out stringy because that's what the tip is supposed to do, and I'm creating the look that I want. So with Cookie Monster not really even being a real shape, he's a shape, but I don't have to put much in it because he has fur, is what I'm saying. I'm able to kind of just get wild with this blue icing, and I'm just going back and forth. I'm trying to make sure the whole cupcake is covered, number one. And you can see my loves over there working on fondant. Um, what am I grabbing? Oh, okay. So for Cookie Monster, I chose half a cookie, right? Because it's supposed to look like there's a cookie in his mouth. So I have to get my half a cookie. I baked these cookies. I did not buy these. So again, there are certain points of certain cakes that they take a lot more work than others. And this is one of those cakes because it does require Oreos and it does require a chocolate chip cookie because oh, she made my eyes. Um, it requires a chocolate chip cookie to be in his mouth. Well, I guess not. But Cookie Monster's eyes are not level. So I was able to stagger them and create a staggered look. But I didn't like that the cookie was sitting up looking like it was going to fall out of his mouth. So I pushed it down a little bit. Hold on, guys. Okay, we're back. And I have yellow, lemon yellow. So if I'm not mistaken, what happened with the first yellow, it was golden yellow, which comes out actually looking orange. So at the beginning of the video, I did say be careful about your yellows. So as I began to mix my icing, I mixed it off camera. I realized it was like a more orange than a yellow. And Big Bird is bright and bright yellow. He's one of the main characters of Sesame Street. Oh no, we can't do that. Can't do that. So what I decided was to take a small amount of that, uh, lemon yellow, and start there. And if I needed it to look a little bit darker, I would add some sun yellow. Yeah, sun, golden yellow. It's not sun, it's golden yellow. Sorry, y'all. I know so many of the Wilton's colors. I kind of get them mixed up because I have so many different colors. Okay. Now, I'm just stirring off camera so that we can see what this yellow is going to look like. I know it's not going to be the same yellow as the cupcake liners per se, because they're more of a yellowish gold, even though they said yellow on the package. They do look yellowish gold. So I don't know. We're going to try to figure this out. And I don't think anybody's going to be upset because the yellows don't match. Okay. Now we have our Oreo. Before we can do off camera, I did another blue cupcake. I'm sorry, y'all. I did a few blue cupcakes. I was rushing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take the Oreo. I've opened it, but I want to release the cream. For the look I'm looking for, the inside of Elmo's mouth, I don't need the cream. So I'm just gonna try to use this Oreo. Hopefully I don't break it. You guys can see that I've actually tried to figure out the best way to do this, and I'm going to use a really sharp knife and just gently press down between the two, and it actually broke into three pieces. So I'm just going to work with it. So like I said, when you make this cake, I would say have two or three backups because cutting these cookies are not easy. Even though I had just baked the cookie for Cookie Monster, it still did not break the way I really wanted it to. I took a tip, not a tip, I took a cookie cutter and tried to cut it, which felt like it would work, but it really didn't. Okay. All right. So I have another piping tip for fur. And Elmo, we know, is furry. Now, he's not as furry as Cookie Monster, but because I don't know how to achieve that actual fur for him just yet, I'm going to use the same tip, just like Cookie Monster. I mean, fur is fur, right, y'all? I would have to say yes. So even if they don't look as good as I wanted them to, they taste good. They taste amazing. So now that I have my red icing in my piping bag, I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm ready to create Elmo. Oh, how could I forget? Elmo is one of my favorite characters. I love Elmo. And if you're on TikTok, we got Gangster Elmo. We got all these different Elmos. So I just like the nice Elmo. I like Elmo's World. My kids grew up on it. So yeah. And I'm again going around the outside of the cupcake, creating that border line. And I put the blue right next to Elmo. I changed it from white to blue. No, I think I left it open and I wasn't for sure what I wanted to do. So when I came back to create the contrast, red and blue look really great next to each other on a cake. So that's what I did. And for the blue next to Elmo, I actually did a rosette. So we got Cookie Monster with the fur, and then we have two rosettes of blue. You guys will see it at the end. So stay to the end so you guys can see the finished product. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If I did not say it already, y'all, I think I did though. But yeah, this is the process where I'm going back and putting his hair up so his eyes kind of stand up a little bit higher than his mouth. And we're going to take this cookie and we're going to place it. But the broken piece, because we're using icing, we can use to put them together and kind of make it seem as if it's not so broken. If you guys understand what I'm saying, definitely. There may be a better word, but we're just trying to make it look like, because Elmo's mouth is black. So we want to make sure that you can't really see the crack, but there's no way for me to get the cookie back together and you not see the black. So I'm just going to add some extra icing to hold the cookie in place. Now, those of you that are familiar with buttercream, you understand as this buttercream ends up being cold, it's going to be like glue, which is good for me because I need it, baby. I need it. All right, so I'm still very troubled about this cookie breaking on me. I'm trying to wipe this excess buttercream off of me before I get these fondant pieces. And we have Elmo's eye, which, typically for Sesame Street, you could make the same size eyes because I don't think anybody has different size eyes. And Elmo, you just kind of line them up because they are, and I didn't realize how much red was on my hand. So here I am. I don't want to touch the second eye. I must have gotten um, red on the first eye, which I did not pick it back up because it's going to mess up the cake, the cupcake. So we're just going to work around that, and I'm trying to make sure that they're laying down together. So Elmo's eyes are looking toward the birthday child, and I have a little orange nose my love made me. because Elmo has an orange nose. Like, why would we not give Elmo the orange nose? Now, to place it where I want it, move it over some, I'm using a toothpick and I'm trying to like center it into his face. And I had a little bit of excess icing, so I just wiped it on another cupcake, y'all. Y'all know how I get down. And now I'm feeling good. I'm about to change to my 1M. So I'm going to release all of this red icing into the 1M, and I'm going to create some rosettes with the red. So we're working smart because the other cupcakes, they don't have to be white. We're adding color. So once you're finished with a color, you just move to other cupcakes and add that color in a different tip, which creates a more vibrant look as well. So we have fur, we have, I forget what the other one, we'll call it swirls. We have swirls and we have the 1M, which is a rosette. So that's three different tips that we're using on this cake. Actually four, but I don't think a lot of people pay attention to the outline, so I don't always say that, but you guys can see the work that goes into this actual cake. But the idea is to create a astounding product that you are very, very proud of. So sometimes you will use two, three tips. I love it when I use two, three tips. And only for those reasons am I okay with telling you guys sometime, like whatever your favorite tip, I would say get multiples of. Number one, I think I've been probably 5 1Ms, and then my children washing dishes and cleaning up after work and things like that, probably been about five. So that's 10 1Ms that I've already thrown away in 8 years because you can't always fix them. You guys can see me creating my rosette, and because it is red, I really didn't want it to do anything more than bump the cupcake next to it. So watch me do it again, and you guys will see that I'm just going in between, right? Now, the the red rosette that I just did last, you guys can see on that cupcake on the left, I did get some icing. Don't feel troubled by that. It can be covered up with a whole different color because it's not smashed down, so it really won't even matter. I'm going to continue to create different rosettes, and you guys can see that they're in different places on the cake. So now we're starting to get some color, and we're filling out where we want to put the extra colors at. I don't want to overdo it, but I feel like Elmo is a big character, so I wanted to use enough red, the top, the bottom, and the middle. So that's what I did. Okay, loves, we are back, and yes, look at this. Okay, so this is the same tip that I piped my border with. And guess who I'm working on now? You got it. I'm working on Big Bird because, yes. So for Big Bird, what I did, because he is the biggest bird, I left two cupcakes that are stacked on top of each other free, right? How do you achieve the Big Bird feathers? It's a layering look. I will probably do this on another video where you guys can see because I know y'all can't see, but I'm working on trying to get new visuals, and I'm taking my smallest offset spatula and I'm piping a line, and I'm just going back and pulling that forward. So the same way, if you are familiar with making fish scales, it's just upside down, love. That's it, right? Sometimes we overthink things and we make it hard for ourselves. Now, the problem with this being on a number one, I'm running out of space. This icing has to make it up to the second cupcake for it to look like a Big Bird because Big Bird is huge. I would never put him on one cupcake. I couldn't see it. And he is one of my favorites as well. Well, I grew up on Sesame Street, so I gotta say, he may be one of my favorites, but off the top, it's definitely Cookie Monster and the Count. And then I guess Elmo and Big Bird. So there we go. But I gotta have Oscar the Grouch in there somewhere because he was so funny. He was so angry that everyone was happy. I don't know. Maybe he had a hard life. I don't know. I have no clue, y'all. Okay, so all I'm doing is continuing to smooth my lines up toward the top of the cake. So I should have left the red cupcake till after I finish this, but I didn't. So I have to be really, really careful with how I am doing my feathers, smoothing my feathers up. You guys see me. I'm wiping my icing back off the offset spatula into the icing bowl. And then I'll just pipe another line. And what I'm doing to make the neckline and the top, I'm making a smaller line and then making the feathers from there. You guys will see this at the end. So I have to say, like, it's kind of hard to explain, y'all. Sign up for the class because I'm definitely going to break it down in the class. And congrats to anyone that has ideas about expanding or starting a business. We have his beak. Yay. Okay. If you're thinking about expanding or starting a baking business, from the third week of January, the class will be on sale, 50% off. So definitely check January 2025 because I don't know when you're going to see this. I have Big Bird's eyes and I'm ready to put them on. So definitely you'll be able to get in touch with me and we'll go deeper into the class. But we also offer one-on-one classes. So if there's something you don't understand or you need just more help with or want to critique, I am here to help you all. I mean, some of these tutorials can help you, yes, but there was a lot of help that I needed that I just actually had to mess up to figure out multiple times, actually, because messing up was not like a one-time thing. It just kept happening. Now, loves, you have to be really, really careful with this yellow next to this red because now we're at the top of Big Bird's head, which is not a lot of room because I accidentally filled in the red. So you guys can see I have gone back and I am now making that red yellow. Yes, you can do this. You don't want to touch down, but I wanted Big Bird's feathers to stand up. So it was okay that I had icing under icing because it was thin icing. If you guys understand that, then you're definitely ready for the class because there's a thickness to certain tips. And this is a big open tip. And you guys can see me putting the finishing touches on Big Bird on his head. Now, I spent a lot of time on this part because I wanted it to look a particular way. And I think I'm almost there. I'm excited. Okay, now I am finished with Big Bird. I am again about to release my yellow icing into a new 1M. Do you guys see how many bags I've already used? But what happened off camera, I think I busted two that you guys didn't even see. So if you find a company and you like the quality of their bags, I would say stick with them. I did not know that starting out, but like I said, I've been doing this for 8 years and typically I buy Wilton's, but I've realized over the last few years since the pandemic, it's hard to find Wilton's unless I go to Joann's. And sometimes I hate going to Joann's because then I want to do other projects. So if I don't order online, then I try to stay away from it. But you can go right on Amazon and get anything that you need. So we're just going to start piping our yellow 1M rosettes. And I'm dabbing the icing. I have to twist my bag to get my icing down and make sure that there's enough. I'm trying to make sure I can do another cupcake. And you guys can see that it's coming together really, really nicely. But I don't want to run out of icing. So as you become a veteran at icing cupcakes or using icing on cupcakes, you kind of can gauge if you can get another one out of it. So that's the thing. I know I can't do too much with this yellow because I don't want to have like a half cupcake made. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do next. But I'm going to stick with the 1M if I do anything else. All right, I'm not doing anything else, y'all. We had to let the yellow go. It wasn't enough to make a whole cupcake, and you have to be willing to sacrifice that. Now, I am making Oscar's color, I think. Yes, I'm using green, which is regular green, and now I'm about to add a little bit of moss green because you got to remember, Oscar just isn't bright green. He's like a dirty green. He lives in a trash can, y'all. This is where we're starting at. It's like a really light color, and I'm gonna add a little bit. Oh, I've already added it. Okay. So this is the darkest I got it because I didn't want it too, again, you want your colors to balance. I didn't want it too dark, but I didn't want it too light because when I first started, it didn't look like grass. And you know, Oscar is not the color of grass. He's darker. Um, Mine look like maybe spring grass. Let's say that. So because I wanted a darker color, I added a small, very small amount of moss green. Evidently, something happened where I accidentally cut that part off. But yeah, you guys can see me getting my piping bag ready. I don't know if I even showed y'all the tip, but I'm almost sure that I'm going to use another fur tip because why would we change it? The only one that needed to be different, and this is in my eyes. Yep, I have the fur tip. The only one that really needed to be different to me was Big Bird to the significance of his feathers. Almost everybody else has that wild look, so you can get away with. Okay, yeah, I can move my last toothpick because yes, I finally was finished with Oscar, and I felt like the yellow and the green together would make a very beautiful contrast. Even though there's a white in between it, but I'm just saying when you look down, you'll see red and blue, and you'll see yellow and green. And then, of course, we have the white, the pops of white. So when you're creating a look that is, it's not flush, you have to think of how your end product is supposed to look in your mind. I realized that my icing was really giving me problems. And I wanted Oscar to stand up because Big Bird was standing up. He would have looked really, really flat. So what I did, I got my mixing spatula and came and put some icing down, which was going to help me be able to create the look I wanted. See, now he's standing up just like Big Bird. When you look at the top, Cookie Monster is really flat, and he didn't have to stand up because he's not like one of those characters that stands out. But because I decided that I wanted to um, well, not me. My loves decided that Oscar lives in a trash can. Why would we not put the trash can lid? So they made me a trash can lid, and I thought it was absolutely amazing. But I wanted to add the extra icing. Now, icing for Oscar was probably my best because his fur is so wild, and I love that. I'm waiting on my loves because we're speaking about should we cut the trash can lid or should we leave it full trash can lid? That's the problem. I'm not sure exactly what I want to do, but I have a 1M now. Okay, so we're going to use a different piping bag this time, loves. We're almost finished though. It's coming together quite nicely. I am releasing this green icing from the fur of Oscar into you guessed it, 1M by Wilton's tip. And we're going to fill these last few spaces in with that tip. You guys made it with me, and I appreciate you all being here. I don't know why I'm having such a problem with this tip, but I am. We're going to figure this out. Oh, okay. So I had to cut the video because I was having problems. I filled in the 1Ms. I added their birthday sign. It's actually a girl. I don't know why I said it like that. But I'm coming in with edible disco dust. Now, y'all know y'all hear me say it every time. Non-toxic does not mean edible, loves. So check with your provider before you purchase this, because I always get mine off of Amazon. I go through a particular person, and I have been assured that this is food safe. So there is a food safe disco dust, and then there's disco dust just for crafts. Now, I don't have a royal blue disco dust, but I do have this one, which is midnight blue, which should create like a tint to Cookie Monster, because it's not going to be completely thick over him or the rosettes, so you'll be able to see it stand out a little bit. All right, we're just going over each rosette that is that color, and in between I am really wiping my brush off and making sure that I'm not mixing colors, because that's something you don't want to do. This disco dust is quite expensive, so be mindful of that as well. A lot of times I go with my lightest color first, but for whatever reasons I did it backwards this time, and I just was like, okay. And red is I don't know why I have so many problems out of this red. This is just red. Actually, it's Christmas red is what it was called from the people I bought it from. And it really does look kind of Christmassy. And yeah, I'm going over my rosettes. I'm going over Elmo. I'm trying to stay away from his eyes and his cookie mouth. So be mindful when you're using this to make your product. Now, you guys can see me shaking the brush off real good. So now we're ready for, this is neon yellow. I did not have a, a regular yellow anymore. I ran out of it. Didn't realize, but I do have neon yellow. So I was able to use this for Big Bird and the cupcakes that are yellow. And I'm going to sprinkle just a smidget on the Sesame Street sign, just like I sprinkled a smidget of the green on the Sesame Street sign. Careful to stay away from the letters of the name because they are white. Which, of course, when you're doing it like this, you can't really figure this out. But thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. These are the cupcakes, what they look like at the end. Again, this was my first time, so I appreciate you all being here. I love you all. Until next time.